welcome, welcome, my light siblings. Sending you peace, love, strength, clarity of mind, continuous healing in whatever your current or future circumstance. I have to say real quick that you guys may hear some noise in the background, traffic and things like that. So I will try to keep the microphone close. It's been really hot and quite humid already for the past couple of days here in western Pennsylvania, and I live in a little apartment which happens to be on the 3rd floor in the attic that they renovated here in this old house or building. I don't know. It was built in like the late 1800s. Beautiful building, but very hot up here. So all my windows are open. So, and some fans are going. I did close the two that are right here in the room, but you'll still hear stuff in the background. I live 4 blocks from the courthouse, and I live 6 blocks from the hospital, and I live on the corner of a 4-way. So I'm like right downtown in this little city. So, you know, there just might be a moment that I go silent and wait for it to all go by. Should be okay. I'll be okay as long as like a whole bunch doesn't all happen at once. It's so the vibrations, I can feel it through the house, and yeah, it's just really tough. So it'll be all right as long as it's hot, as long as like a bunch of motorcycles don't come by and the guys like remove the baffles, you know, and it's so loud that it's literally like churning my sacral chakra. As long as that doesn't happen, everything will be a-okay. And like no shade thrown on motorcycle or people who ride motorcycles. Just the whole taking the baffles out, it baffles me. It really does. See, there you go. Ambulance as I'm speaking. So yeah, there might be some times when it gets a little bit loud in the background. So I apologize right up front. For anyone who hasn't been following along, for the past 2 years, I have been studying, reading, listening to in audio form over and over and over again, and really hardcore for the past 6 or 7 months. And some things got me out of bed, woke me up out of bed, and I was like, what? Early on, just to recap, I know people don't like long, intros, but I'm sorry, recap. Early on, I had thought, when I heard the name Zeus and Bobastis, that it was speaking about the sun and the moon. And that was until my very good friend at Mons Hill, shout out, spoke to me. And then I began to search further because I knew I was, like, Spirit was speaking to me for a purpose. So doing that, I began to search more, and then I found that Zeus was Jupiter and Bobastis was Venus. Now, although recently, and I mean recently as in like the past couple of days, because I'm putting this video together. I love making videos because I learn and go further when I compile it to share it. It goes further, and I didn't even know, so this is great. Recently, I've discovered, though, that at times in the Gospel of Pistis Sophia, when they speak about Zeus and Jupiter, they are speaking about Bobastis and Venus, or about the sun and the moon. But then at other times, they're speaking about Bobastis and Venus, and then at other times, there's this whole other, I'll just say it's an entity, even though it's not a physical form, that has the sun and the moon and something else added into it. But at any rate, I'll digress from that because it gets a bit confusing. That's for the next video. Okay, so Zeus, Jupiter, Bobastis, Venus. So that led me to going back to find a Jupiter-Venus timeline, because that's what it's always. Whenever Zeus is in one place and Bobastis is another place. So in this one portion, and there's 5 of them, and now I understand why there's 5. But in the portion that I found for this year, it was in June. Well, so I go back again. Thanks at Mons Hill. I go back and I look for a Jupiter-Venus timeline, and I built that together, which then I commented in my latest video, and once again, Knight in Shining Armor rides in at Mons Hill, says, "I'm sorry, but no, dear friend, it's not." And I was like, and the tenacious / stubborn ? Part of me kept saying, "Oh no, you're not done, keep going." So I did. I continued to seek and seek further, and when I did, bam, way tighter and more powerful timeline presented itself. Yeah, I somehow was blending before Western and Vedic astrology together and creating my own day and time, my own timeline, which, yeah, that's not good. We're not supposed to create those things. So going all back and looking, absolutely spot on. If we go by the Vedic lineup, oh my goodness, everything is like way tighter, and way more powerful than my fake one that I created. So I'll talk about that. It happens on August 17th. That's the date. Not June 30th that I thought. So, but August 17th. All lines up great. So we'll talk about that a little bit, as well as I am going to read from a few more chapters from the Pistis Sophia, book 5, so that we can lay out some things. I think people are hearing what the book says, but not comprehending it all of the way. So what I've comprehended thus far, I'm going to share with you. And before that, I've got to make sure that, like I say, I lay some foundation stones and point out certain things. All of this, the Pistis Sophia, the book talks about the fall of Pistis Sophia. My interpretation is that the Pistis Sophia, because she's a trace of wisdom, Sophia is wisdom, and Pistis is grace or trace, but because Pistis Sophia, that exists, I'm saying that that's the soul. And if you read the text, it tells you that Pistis, she created a child without the other part. She only used her female part without any male part. Okay, so she created by herself an entity, and that entity's name is Yaldabaoth. In my opinion, Yaldabaoth is the ego. Yaldabaoth also has 3 different names: Yaldabaoth, Samael, and Saklos. And they each one have like a little bit of a different, but they're all the same thing. It basically means the god of the blind god, or the god of blindness and darkness. So that's my take on who Pistis is and who Yaldabaoth is. And all of these things are all of these people that we're reading about, they're not people, they're energy or light sources, electrical or magnetic forces. They exist above, as above, so below, as within, so without. They're above, they exist in all of the planets, and they also exist within us, within our chakra, within our whole 7 human form. And I'm going to try to show you how that connects as well. None of this is witchcraft. None of this is idolatry. I am not worshiping any planet, any image, any of that. No, this is all about finding, it's like looking without and correlating it to within so that you can fix it. Like, you can see what's out there, but you can't see what's inside of you. So everything correlates. And like the day that we were born, all of the planets were in certain houses which were either opposing or applying to one another or conjunct with other ones. And like, we're all gods, we're all magicians, we all have power. We just have to find out who we are, or remember who we are. And that is what this book is also about. And it speaks about incarnations and okay, I'm just going on too much, but that's the base for who Pistis is and who is the child that she created by herself. It says in the book that when she created it and gave birth to it, it was misshapen and was like an aborted fetus, and it wasn't right. That's because she made it, and I think that's ego. And P.S. Yaldabaoth made a whole bunch of his own creations too. Ugh. And if you haven't already, please take a moment to hit the subscribe button, the little bell to the right to receive notifications. Please hit the like so that the YouTube algorithm will pick it up. Share on your own media outlets. And yes, I welcome all comments, and I promise I will get back. I honestly do not know how the Wizard of God... I was getting ready to say the Wizard of God. I do not know how the Wizard of Oz got in here. Well, I do. It was spirit. I wanted to add it because lately, again, I've been accused of witchery, and I just want to point out that we're all basically witches, gods. So I wanted to play this small little clip of the Wizard of Oz in the beginning before we get started. And when I did, all kinds of stuff came flooding to me, and matches mystery. So I'm starting off the video with Wizard of Oz, which is the beginning of the movie, and it with the ending of the Wizard of Oz. Whew. All right, enjoy. All right, now before I begin to read some of Chapter 5, Pistis Sophia, these are those foundation stones that I was talking about, and to point out a couple of things, and so that we get a firm grip on what's going on. In the very beginning, it says the interpretation of Io. Now, I thought that it was pronounced Io, but it is not, as I went and I searched, because, of course, it says that Jesus made invocation, turning himself towards the four corners of the world with his disciples. They're all clad in linen, saying E-A-O. Not Io, Io, Io. And its interpretation is iota because the universe have gone forth, alpha because it'll turn back on itself, and omega because I forget the rest. We'll see it in a second. But at any rate, yeah, I thought it was the great Io. It is not. Upon looking, translation in the Greek Gnostic, it's pronounced E-A-O. So they were all clad in linen white garments saying E-A-O, E-A-O, E-A-O. Definitely vibing or making some things spin. But immediately when I found this, you guys, also it can mean to heal, and it also means light. So all of that makes sense. But as soon as I looked at the pronunciation, I said E-A-O. All of a sudden, I started singing, Old MacDonald had a farm. Old MacDonald, he owned a farm. E-A-E-A-O. And then, you know, it goes on talking about all the farm animals. But I'll digress from that. I'm just saying that, yeah, so it's not I-O, it's the E-A-O. 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 This is a bit premature, but I will show you just for a second, because we were just speaking of the E-A-O. These are all planets that have correlated to them. Motorcycle. Yeah, I will touch on this later. It's a little bit early for this, but these are names that you will hear throughout Sabaoth, Saturn, Venus, Melchizedek, or Zeus, Jupiter, Zarazas, Mars. Like, I went down all kinds of really deep to put these where they are. But again, this is kind of premature. That's not even, this is just for the next video. I just wanted to show you about the E-A-O up there. Three different things make the E-A-O. Some people say it's three fathers. Some people say it's three mothers. Some people have it as a father, a mother, and a child. And I think that they all work in one kind of perspective. But yeah, we'll go on. We're going to hear about Jesus being referred to as Abramentho. So here's another rabbit hole that I jumped into. And P.S. everyone, when we read things or hear things, go look. They all have a meaning, and they will make the story much, much clearer. And it's not like intense. I'm not leaving any kind of links in the description for where I found it. Like, you can go and find it, though. It's really, like, I didn't have to scroll for pages and pages or anything, or even type in any kind of, like, outrageously, detailed, search query. Like, no, you can find all of this. So, I split the word apart. Abramentho. So, aber means to flow out, and inver means to flow in. Aber and inver are common elements in place names, both meaning confluence of waters or the mouth of the river, where the influx and the outflow come together. Menthol is real close to mentho, so it's mentho derived from menthol. Terpene alcohol with a strong, minty, cooling or refreshing odor and taste. It is obtained from peppermint oil or can be produced synthetically. Hydrogenation of thymol. Thymol is a colorless, crystalline phenol extracted from the volatile oil of time, or made synthetically, and is specifically used as an antiseptic, especially in mouthwashes, just like the river mouth. Especially in mouthwashes and nose and throat sprays, and in perfuming and embalming, microscopy, etc. A bira in Ethiopian means light or he shines. Yes, I like it. So I decided that these verses would apply nicely. The mouth of the righteous is a fountain of life, but the mouth of the wicked conceals violence. But whoever drinks of the water that I give him will never be thirsty again. The water that I will give him, the water that I will give him will become in him a spring of water welling up to eternal life. That's Jesus, Abramentho. And all drank the same spiritual drink, for they drank from the spiritual rock that followed them, and the rock was Christ. Abramentho. And he said to me, it is done. I am the Alpha and the Omega, the beginning and the end. To the thirsty, I will give from the spring of water of life without any payment. We're going to hear a lot of different names when I read this, and some you'll know, and I don't want you to attach an image to it. I want you to see the image and know that it's energy, and then, detach the image, if you will. Again, I'm going to go back about the whole witchery thing and people saying you're a witch and you're in darkness and you're blah, blah, blah. Well, true enough, you have to peek into the darkness so that you can, you know how to balance and battle that out. But at any rate, no, I'm not in darkness, and darkness means that I'm not aware of, asleep. Darkness, still asleep. Trapped in the lies and the confusion, darkness, not light, shadows of. But we're gonna hear a lot about Hermes in these scriptures that I'm going to read, and Hermes is equivalent, or it's a reference to Mercury and Mercury's powers, energies, vibrations. And then I have listed which each one of these planets that they speak of, each one of the houses that it rules in the zodiac, because this all talks about the zodiac. And again, as above, so below. Everything that happens up in the universe is happening within our bodies, within us. So that's the purpose for showing you this. Yeah, we'll hear about Hermes, which is Mercury. We'll hear about Aries, which is Mars. We'll hear about Aphrodite, Bobastis, which is Venus. We'll hear about, did I say Zeus, Jupiter? Zeus, Jupiter, Melchizedek, like the king. And I want you to take notice to how many circles are all there. There are 5. Do you see the 5 planets? Pistis talks about the 5 gods and all of their powers. There's 5. We have Venus, Saturn, Mercury, Jupiter, and Mars. And then to make the 7, to complete our human form, we have the sun and the moon. That makes 7. So we're dealing with chakras, we're dealing with zodiac up above, down below, as within, so without. Okay, we're not worshiping planets. We're not worshiping the gods that they made of stone from, you know, the images that we have in this. You know what? To me, like, I don't worship anything anymore. To me, worship is like really, really close to warship. And my ship isn't at war any longer. Right now I'm experiencing a peace treaty, if you will, and I hope to extend it to the rest of my days. This is what I'm saying. So, yeah, nobody's worshiping planets or gods of the planets. This is to point out that this all talks about energies, magnetic forces opposing and applying to one another, and just, yeah. So you're going to see and hear Kronos, Aphrodite, Hermes, Zeus, Ares, Sabaoth, which is also Kronos and Saturn. You're going to hear about the little Sabaoth. You're going to hear about the little Io, a whole bunch of stuff. But we just have to remember that these, again, are not people. They're not the planets that we're paying attention to. It's the energy so that we can apply them within and heal ourselves. And anyone who says that it's witchery, then God said, let there be light bearers, the sun, the moon, the stars, and the expanse of the heavens to separate the day from the night, and let them be useful for all signs of God's provident care and for making seasons and days and years. And in the morning it will be foul weather, says Jesus to the people questioning him. For the sky, it'll be foul weather today, for the sky is red and lowering. O ye hypocrites, ye can discern the face of the sky? You know what's happening? You know when the moon's going to be full and when the sun's going to go up and down, or when there's going to be bad weather, but you can't discern the signs of the times within yourself. So no sorcery, no. Okay, well, I will say, like everything, there's magic, right? There's black magic, there's white magic, and then there's in between gray magic. Anytime that you manipulate anything, which we do at all times, whether you realize it or not, it's magic. So all witches, good witch, bad witch, you pick which side of the pole that you want to vibe on. But nothing innately good, nothing innately bad, nothing innately black, nothing innately white. So much gray in between stuff to like look and understand, and don't get stuck in the middle in that gray area. Some Gnostic text, quote unquote, Jesus says, don't get stuck in the middle. I'm stuck in the middle with you. Isn't that the jokers on the left of me? Clowns to the right. Here I am. Yeah, it is. Stuck in the middle with you. That was a good one. All right, digressing. Okay, I don't know if you guys heard while I was just talking a second ago, but you hear my cat come up and full on meow. I don't know. I have to listen to this back. But at any rate, yeah, I was picking up and he was laying down. He's hungry. It's dinner time, so I had to go and feed them, and both of the cats. And now I'm back. But I would like to show you this. Really quick. I was talking about all of the 5, and this is that August 17th, 2020. Let me show you how powerful all of the energies and everything are going to be according to the Vedic timeline. The sun is at home. Where are we? The sun is at home at Leo, and also Mercury and the sun are hooking up. So it's like the soul and the mind. But, I mean, that makes sense because Mercury is the closest to the sun. But at any rate, that's really, like, I'm digging on that. So, and everything's lined up actually pretty well. But, yeah, so we have the sun at home in, at Leo. We have the moon at home in Cancer. We have Venus in Gemini, which is one of the factors that we need for Pistis Sophia, because I'm saying, you know why? Because this is love, and it's love and desire, and she rules earth and air, so like flesh and spirit. And one is Taurus, which is value of like pretty much earthly things, but then on the other side she rules is Libra, and that's the scales of justice and righteousness. So now I do understand why we're working with Venus and love and desire, because that's what drives all of us here. So yeah, Venus had to be in Gemini for this one portion of the 5 out of Pistis Sophia. And up here, you can't see because it's kind of covered up, in Sagittarius sits Jupiter or Zeus, and that has to happen. Now over here again, we're talking about at home. Look at this, Saturn is at home and Pluto's here, so karma and then death and rebirth and renewal. Where was I? What did I want to say after that? I was going to at home. Oh yeah, Mars at home, right on the edge of at home in Aries, and also like lining up with Lilith, and I haven't really looked into that too much, but all of these are like pa-ching, pa-ching, fire and energy. Here we have Chiron, which is the wounded healer, sitting right in the middle of Pisces, which is like confusion and mystery and smoke and mirrors and confusion. And here's Neptune. Now Neptune rules Pisces, and Neptune, he's not home. Wah, wah, wah. So I have to look into this further, but I'm just saying energetically wise. Oh yeah, and then I also forgot to say that the moon's nodes just switched from earth, water, over to air, here, fire, to Sagittarius, Gemini. So we also have the moon's node that's like working along with this. What did I want to say? Oh yeah, well you can see, I'll get into it more later, but if you can see this, look, you see Neptune? It's like 2 or 3 sprays, pa-ching, pa-ching, ching, coming out from over here. Zeus, Jupiter, firing away, and Pluto, I believe, helping in. I'm not sure. But anyway, pew, pew, to hear it's like a video game. And the moon's going, pa-ching, pa-ching, ching, because the moon's also hooked up with all of this other stuff. And Venus... Okay, I'm just going to stop because now I'm even like confusing myself. I'll get into more of when it comes time, when it gets closer to this. But I just wanted to show you how, yeah, like the energies. Check it out. There's a pyramid in there. All right. On to the next. All right. 20 minutes and 11 seconds in. And now we're ready to read. Now we're ready to read some of this stuff, but it's okay, because 2011 is a 4 and it's a foundation, and that's what we were going after, folks. Okay. The interpretation of E-A-O. And Jesus made invocation, turning himself toward the 4 corners of the world with his disciples, who were all clad in linen garments, and saying, E-A-O, E-A-O, E-A-O. This this is its interpretation. Iota, because the universe hath gone forth. Alpha, because it will turn itself back again. Omega, because the completion of all completeness will take place. And when Jesus had said this, he said, Iaptha, Iaptha, Moner, Moner, Ermenor, Ermenor. That is, O Father of all fatherhood, of the boundless spaces, hear me for the sake of my disciples, whom I have led before thee, that they may have faith in all the words of thy truth, and grant all for which I shall invoke thee. For I know the name of the Father of the treasury of the light. The apocalypse of the heavens. Again did Jesus, that is, Abramentho, make invocation, speaking the name of the Father of the treasury of the light, and said, let all the mysteries of the rulers and the authorities and the angels and the archangels and all powers and all things of the invisible God, Chamriel, I don't pretend to know how to pronounce that one, and Barbello. I did go and look up what that is, and yeah, makes sense. You guys could go and look that up. The invisible God and Barbello draw near the leech on one side and withdraw to the right. And in that hour all the heavens went to the west, and all the aeons and the sphere and their rulers and all the powers flew together to the west, to the left of the disk of the sun and the disk of the moon. The figures of the disk of the sun and of the moon. And the disk of the sun was a great dragon, whose tail was in his mouth, and who reached to 7 powers of the left, and whom 4 powers in the form of white horses drew. And the base of the moon had the type of a ship, which a male and a female dragon steered, and 2 white bulls drew. The figure of a babe was on the stern of the moon, who guided the dragons, who robbed the light from the rulers, and on its prow was a cat's face. And the whole world and the mountains and the seas fled together to the west, to the left. Jesus and the disciples are transported to the ways of the midst. And Jesus and his disciples remained in the midst, in an airy region, spiritual region, on the ways of the way of the mist, which lieth below the sphere. And they came to the first order of the way of the midst. And Jesus stood in the air of its region with his disciples. The disciples of Jesus said unto him, what is this region in which we are? Ways of the repentant and unrepentant rulers. Jesus said, these are the regions of the way of the midst. For it came to pass, when the rulers of Adamus mutinied and persistently practiced congress, procreating rulers, archangels, angels, servitors, and deacons, that you, the father of my father, came forth from the right and bound them to a fate sphere. Karma, you get what you put out. It's cause and effect. But I want to point out you see that? That you, the father of my father, came forth from the right. You, if you recall earlier, I showed you a picture. You can go back and look at that, but we'll talk about that more later. For there are 12 aeons, or spaces. That's all aeon means, is a place or a space. There are 12 aeons over 6 Sabaoth, the Adamas, ruleth. That's Saturn, remember? And his brother Yaldabaoth ruleth over the other 6. At that time, when Yaldabaoth with his rulers had faith in the mysteries of the light, and was active in the mysteries of the light, and abandoned the mysteries of Congress. But Sabaoth, the Adamas, and his rulers have persisted in the practice of Congress. And when you, the father of my father, saw that Yaldabaoth had faith, he carried him and all the rulers who had faith with him, took him unto himself out of the sphere, and led him into a purified air in face of the light of the sun, between the regions of those of the midst, and between the regions of the invisible God. He posted him there with the rulers who had faith in him. But he carried Sabaoth, the Adamas, and his rulers, who had not been active in the mysteries of the light, but have been persistently active in the mysteries of Congress, and inbound them into the sphere of the hierarchies of the unrepentant rulers, and the names of their 5 regions. He bound 1,800 rulers in every space, or every aeon, and he set 360 over them. He set 5 other great rulers as lords over the 360, and over all the bound rulers, who in the whole world of mankind are called with these names. The first is called Kronos, the second Aries, the third Hermes, the fourth Aphrodite, the fifth Zeus. Chapter 137 of the powers which you bound into the 5 regions. Jesus continued and said, Hearken then, that I may tell you their mystery. It came to pass then, when you had thus bound them, that he drew forth a power out of the great invisible, and bound it to him who is called Kronos, Saturn. And he drew another power out of, I'm not going to even try to pronounce it, Ipsantachwan, yeah, that's it, who is one of the 3 triple-powered gods, and bound it to Aries. And he drew a power out of, China Choo, who also is one of the 3 triple-powered gods, and he bound it to Hermes. Again, he drew a power out of the Pistis, the Sophia daughter of Barbello, and bound it to Aphrodite. Of the functions of Zeus, the chief regent. And moreover, he perceived that they needed a helm to steer the world, and the aeons of the sphere, so that they might not wreck it, the world, yourself, you, in their wickedness. Motorcycle. He went into the midst, drew forth a power out of the little Sabaoth, the good, him of the midst, and he bound it to Zeus, because Zeus, he's a good regent, so that he may steer them in his goodness. And he thus established the circling of his order, that he should spend 13 months in every space or every timeline. And I don't mean to go against the grain. Well, I do. I always go against the grain. So I'm just going to say it. But it says (3) in parentheses and brackets, because whoever transcribed this and was trying to go along with the story thought that possibly 13 was a typo, and they were saying, no, it's like 3 months in every, I guess, house is what they were trying to say. But it's talking about Zeus, and I think that the 13 is absolutely correct, and whoever came and put the brackets in and transcribed it, I don't agree with you. I agree with the original writer, because Jupiter comes into opposition with the Earth, with man with flesh, every 13 months. So each year it seems to come a month later. Last year it happened in May, and in 2020 it will happen in July. So, yeah, that's what I think about. That's what I think about that. I'm agreeing with the original text writer and not the interpreter, whoever tried to interpret that. So Zeus spent 13 months in every aeon or space or cycle, confirming it, so that he may set free all the rulers over whom he cometh from the evil of their wickedness. And he gave him 2 aeons, which are in the face of those of Hermes, for his dwelling. And if you look right here, here's Gemini, which is Hermes, and yup, right in the face, here's Sagittarius, here's Zeus. They're right in the face of each other. The incorruptible names of the regents. I have told you for the first time the names of these 5 great rulers, with which the men of the world are wont to call them. Hearken now, then, that I may tell you also their incorruptible names, which are: Oramoth correspondeth to Kronos, Monichonop correspondeth to Aries, Charpetnalnuf correspondeth with Hermes. I'm trying my best, you guys. Chosai or Chosi correspondeth with Aphrodite. Choicey, yeah, choice. Choicey. Correspondeth with Aphrodite. Chernobyl correspondeth to Zeus. These are their incorruptible names. Chapter 138. And when the disciples had heard this, they fell down, adored Jesus, Abramentho, the refreshing water, pouring out of water. Blessed are we beyond all men, because thou hast revealed unto us these great wonders. They continued, besought him, and said, We beseech thee, reveal unto us, what are then these ways? Mary questioneth Jesus on the ways of the midst. And Mary drew nigh unto him, fell down, adored his feet, and kissed his hands, and said, Yea, my Lord, reveal unto us, what is the use of the ways of the midst? For we have heard from thee that they are set over great chastisements. How then, my Lord, will we remove or escape from them? Or in what way do we seize this, or in what way do they seize the souls? Or in how long a time do they spend in their chastisements? Oh, have mercy upon us, Lord, our Savior, in order that the receivers of the judgment of the ways of the midst may not carry off our souls and judge us in their evil judgments, so that we ourselves may inherit. I'm sorry, more traffic came by. I had to stop it. Have mercy on us, O Lord, our Savior, in order that the receivers of the judgments of the ways of the midst may not carry off our souls and judge us in their evil judgments, so that we ourselves may inherit the light of thy Father and not be wretched and destitute of these. Of the mysteries which Jesus, Abramentho, will give unto his disciples. When then Mary said this weeping, Jesus answered in great compassion, and said unto them, Truly, my brethren and beloved, who have abandoned father and mother for my name's sake, unto you will I give all mystery, and all gnosis, all knowledge, all mysteries. And I need to jump in here and say that in Pistis somewhere, it tells you that your mother, you need to know where your root is. Your root is that your father is darkness and your mother is the abyss. So when the scripture says that you're supposed to abandon your father and your mother, that's what it's speaking about darkness and the abyss. That's what and lies and the false way, all of the images and the fake stuff and the lies. That's what you're saying no to, not your actual mother or father. And if we really paid attention and listened to that book, you guys, well before, this is the Pistis Sophia saying it, reiterating it, but in the King James, they put it in there and it sounds all kinds of wacky, contradictory, because the Ten Commandments say that's one of the, that's one of them, that's a biggie, right? Honor your mother and your father. And then along comes Jesus in the New Testament and says, nah, you can't go with me if you don't ditch them. And nobody stops and goes, wait, what's that mean? No, people literally get on a religious choo-choo train, and because their father or their mother is an atheist or a different religion or whatever the case is, they totally cut them out of their life. Wrong. That's not love. That's Yaldabaoth. That's ego. Yaldabaoth children. Truly, my brethren and beloved, who have abandoned father and mother for my name's sake, unto you will I give all mysteries and all gnosis. I will give you the mystery of the 12 aeon spaces, the 12 timelines, or the 12 things that you need to complete, of the rulers and their seals and their ciphers, and the manner of invocation for reaching the regions. That's what I'm doing. That's what I'm teaching you on the 17th. We're going to do this. But you need to know what you're doing and know where the energy's coming from and where to focus it back out to. Also, I'm going to reiterate here, you notice that there's seals going on. And in the Bible, you know that there's seals on the forehead and the right hand of some people that don't got it quite right. Right? But then also, on the other hand, there's seals that go on the foreheads of those before stuff comes around, like what's going to get ready and happen after this timeline. And yeah, we're supposed to pay attention to this. I keep spinning off and I don't mean to. But yeah, you need to be sealed properly. Proper baptism. Proper, seals. Remove those other seals and take away your right hand. Your right hand is made to make a promise. It's like, I pledge to do, I promise, the right hand. No, that's the bad one. Don't go along with it. I will give you, moreover, the mystery of the 13th aeon, and the matter of invocation for reaching their regions. And I will give you their ciphers and their seals. The 13th aeon. And yeah, see, it took me 2 years to get into it and drill it into my head. And Atman's Hell coming in again like knight in shining armor. Don't know if Atman's Hell is male or female, but it doesn't really matter. Like I said, the whole poles thing, we're both need to balance both. But yeah, Atman's was there along the whole way. I will give you moreover the mystery of the 13th aeon, or the 13th sphere, 13th space. Yeah. We're supposed to be following the Vedic stuff, and we'll get a lot more done. A lot more done. Everything is intent and inner work. I mean, just because the planets are doing one thing doesn't mean... It just means that you're going to be in for a fight. Pretty much like, man, know thyself. Like, get your stuff straight, and then look out, look without after you've looked within to see what's going on, so that you can keep your stuff, man. You can keep your seal, gain more. And I will give you the mysteries of the baptism of those of the midst, and the manner of invocation for reaching their regions, and I will announce unto you their ciphers and their seals. And I will give you the baptism of those on the right, our region, and its ciphers, and its seals, and the manner of invocation for reaching thither. If you've noticed, everything now is on the right, and all of the other stuff was on the left. And I will give you the great mystery of the treasury of the light, and the manner of invocation for reaching thither. I will give you all the mysteries and all the gnosis, in order that ye may be called children of fullness, perfected in all gnosis and in all the mysteries. Blessed, blessed are ye beyond all men on earth, for the children of light are come in your time. Yes, my friends, yes. And that's the end of this Pistis Sophia video in the series. Watch for the next one. I want to bid you all love and peace. Strength, like I said, you can do it. You are strong. Perpetual healing. I love you guys. I'm leaving you off, like I said, with the last scene of The Wizard of Oz. Take some time and look what I've written, and the pictures and the images that I've attached to it. I love you guys. I'm off to go into the sacred secretion timeline, moon calendar for the month of June, and I tell you, just be forewarned, I'm not quite sure. I'm just not going to make people quit cold turkey and just pull it down the Western timeline, Western astrology, but I'm gonna get into that. I will have something up though. I love you guys. Peace.